All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachaha Quadash. I want to give double honors to the head apostle, Nettles, a great millstone who will rule well and teach well. Peace and blessing to you, sincere Akim Netter, pushing his truth all over the four corners of the earth, week in and week out, and all truth and sincerity. It's the brother Matthew from the GMS Virginia camp. Now, I'm going to do a quick little video response concerning GMS Watchman's video entitled, quote, "I would never marry a black woman," end quote. Everyone is fed up with you. And I'll leave the link in the description box as well. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. The brother makes some very informational and edifying videos, okay? And I'm going to play this video clip. I'm going to play his whole video. And then I want to go into some scriptures, okay? So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
So this had been festering in my mind a little while, like the thought of interracial marriage, because when I was maybe 15 or 16 years old, somebody black man said I would never marry a black woman. And he said that, and it just struck me. And then I looked at my parents, and then I looked at him, and then I looked at a lot of other couples I saw, and I said, oh, black men don't like black women. And I said to myself, if black men don't even like us black women, then we're just messed up. Like, what? If we can't be accepted by our own people, then it's just over. Like, what is that? And I remember getting like really depressed about it.
Who we are?
Right. And then that kind of like started me thinking about it, like when I was that age.
Even in the recent past, like I had a run-in the other day. I was teaching one of my students. I think he's 9 years old. And he's already a little on the bratty side. Like he really wants attention, so he'll do anything for it. But we're having like a conversation. He's actually really smart. He's one of the smart students, and he loves learning. He loves reading. But he was in a mood, and he's like, he pointed out one of the girls, this little white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. She's like, "That's my girlfriend." I was like, "Oh yeah?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I would never date a black girl." And you know us girls.
All three of us.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, they're teaching in separate corners, and we're all like, "What?" We all woke up, like we all heard him. I said, "What did you say?" And he said, I would never date a black woman. And I said,
you forgot to mention, this boy is mixed himself.
Yeah, he's super light
skin. So he's like light skinned. He has little dreads, but he has like these greenish, grayish eyes. So he's mixed.
So I was like, well, he needs to validate this statement that he just made. That was pretty brash and bold. And I was like, young man, why would you not? And he's like.
And we could go on all day why we wouldn't mess with the so-called black woman, okay? We could go on all day why you so-called black woman, you Judite woman, okay, are the least desired amongst all the women on the face of the earth. And that's just straight facts, okay? The statistics prove it, all right? These women are stubborn. They don't want to listen. They don't want to take no type of guidance, from their men. They're loud, okay? They seek attention from anywhere and elsewhere than from, her household, from her man, okay? And ultimately, she receives all her instructions and all her guidance, from Esau Edom. And that's who she's submissive to. Okay, let's go to Sirach 25:16 real quick. It says, "I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman." So, the so-called black man is waking up and is fed up with the black woman's bullshit, man. Okay, her tricks, her games, her snares, her traps that ultimately she has learned from Esau Edom. Okay, and the so-called black man, as well as the rest of the tribes of Israel, okay, are seeking elsewhere. And if they do mess with women or desire women of their own nation, they tend to look to the northern tribes, man. Okay. and even these heathen women, all right, because we can deal with these other nations, because we can bring back the nation, all right, without the Israelite woman, okay? It says, verse 17, the wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. Yeah, now that's another, you know, the so-called black man is not wanting to deal with you women because of your harsh track record, man. Okay? Your reputation. We're not saying every single, Judite woman is like this, but it is on a high level. It is on a majority standpoint. Okay? And she, basically your woman is essentially a representation of you. Okay? And when she's not around you, and even when she is around you, these so-called black women act out and act a fool, act a ass, and it brings an embarrassment upon you and your name, okay, and your children as well. It says, her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. Okay? Jake's getting tired of sighing bitterly. Verse 19, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her, as the climbing up of a sandy way is to the feet of the aged woman. So is a wife full of words to a quiet man. And you best believe the so-called black woman is completely full of words, man. She don't know when to shut up, man. Like the scripture says, she is loud and she's stubborn. And that's a hell of a mixture. That's a hell of a combination. All right, let's get that real quick. Let's go to Proverbs 7 and 11. It says, she is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Let's look up that word stubborn real quick. All right, this is the definition for stubborn. It says having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something. So she has a determination not to listen to you, to go against the grain, to go against the order that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has set up. Okay? To be completely unsubmissive to you, and ultimately she wants to be over you. And she wants to dictate the relationship. She wants to have the power. She wants to have the say so. Okay? She has a problem with, the way the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American men are hardwired to think. And we've been hardwired to think a certain way by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Okay? She's got a problem with you, wanting multiple women, wanting multiple wives. Okay? She's got a problem with that. Even these women that consider themselves quote unquote in the truth, which there's really no women in the truth, so to speak. They have a problem with you wanting multiple women. Okay? It says having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. All right? Difficult to move, remove, or cure. Yeah, the so-called black woman has a disease, and the majority of our women, the majority of our women, they're gonna be stuck into their ways until the nukes come, man. And that's gonna be the cure for the disease that they have, man. Is that thermonuclear fire, man. Okay. Let's get a couple of these words: self-willed, strong-willed. Okay, like the scripture says, a bold woman, brings dishonor to her husband and to her father, roughly paraphrasing. All right, it says iron-willed. Yeah, she's got an iron will. And a lot of these so-called black women, and also, these other Israelite women as well, their situation would be a lot better, if they would just humble down. Okay. If you would think these women would humble down and, be okay with the order that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has set forth, okay, and be, comfortable and okay with their man having multiple women, you know, a lot of men would go, you know, farther and you know, try to do more and be more motivated, all right, in the particular relationship that they're in. You know, a lot of these women wouldn't have to work the 2 and 3 jobs that they have, you know. And if they were willing to be under the order of that man's house, you know, ultimately they could sit at the house and take care of the house, cook, clean, you know, take care of the children and the kids. And not have to worry about going out to these various different jobs and do these various different things that you know, ultimately a man should be doing. Okay, but they don't want to do that, man. Okay, that's why you're construction workers. That's why you're painting houses. That's why you wearing the yellow vest, working, holding signs, doing hard labor, okay, in the hot sun. You know? Let's continue on in this video.
Like, first of all, they loud. I was like, she's like, they think.
Yeah, just like she said, they loud as hell. All right, you can hear the so-called black woman from down the street, down the block, over cars. All right. It says she is Salaki back in Proverbs 7 and 11. It says she is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. That's right. She's anywhere and everywhere else except in the house. You know, she don't know how to cook. She don't know how to clean. I'm talking about the majority of you know, the so-called black woman. You know, she wants to be in the streets. You know, even when she's in a relationship, even when she has a man, even when she has a husband, she wants to be in the streets. She wants to be with her girlfriend. She wants to go on girl trips. She wants to live her best life, right? She don't want to listen to you. And, you know, these women will leave you. And this is all these women. They'll leave you at the drop of a dime. They'll leave you for anything, okay? You know, and they've done studies. The majority of women have a backup plan already set up, okay, in case the relationship goes south. Verse 12, it says, now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. And, you know, the so-called black woman is in that position. She's basically in the streets and she's for the streets, man. The majority of black women are single, okay? You know, or they are in these, you know, weird relationships and they have multiple baby daddies and it's like they have multiple children with multiple baby daddies, okay? You know, and that's another reason, you know, to add on the multiple reasons why, you know, Jake don't want to deal with you so-called black woman, man. Y'all got a lot of baggage that comes along with y'all and a lot of risk, and you are a high liability, all right? You are a liability, and nobody wants to deal with that, okay? We're looking for peace, man. You know, we don't want to come home and have to get in arguments. We already been dealing with shit at the job, in our daily lives. You know, we're dealing with all types of things, man. Okay? Especially being in this truth. We don't want to come back to the house and have to deal with a woman screaming in your goddamn ear. You know, trying to start arguments, starting little shit. You know?
They bougie and they're annoyed and they ugly. I was like,
Oh, that was a lot.
well, you have reasons. I can't say they're altogether wrong, but not right either. Mm-hmm. And then we had like a little discussion about it.
You started asking him, like, isn't your mama?
I was like, is your mama black? He's like, yes. I was like, why are you talking?
Yeah, and their mothers are the same way. That's their mothers had a heavy influence on the reason that they are like they are today. Okay, because their mother taught them those ways, man. You know, the majority of our women were raised by single mothers. And they would taught them, you don't need no man. You can do it on your own. You can do this. Look at me. I'm a strong black woman. I'm taking care of the house. I done raised all 6 of y'all kids. And look how y'all turned out, right? Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get that in Titus. Because they were not taught how to be woman. They were not taught how to please nor take care of their man. All right. I mean, you know, the majority of the so-called black women weren't even taught how to take care of themselves. You know, wash themselves, clean themselves. They weren't taught how to eat, proper diet, exercise. All right. proper hygiene, just communication skills, ethics. Let's go to Titus chapter 2, and let's start from the top. It says, "But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience." Verse 3, "The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness." Okay? The aged women are not in behavior that is holy. They're in the opposite of behavior. When you go on these dating apps, you see the so-called black woman on there in her high 40s, 50s, 60s, and that is a product of feminism. Okay? These women are trying to, they on that Flavor Flav looking to find love, at high ages, It says, "The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things." See, the aged woman has not taught, this younger generation of women good things, and especially the so-called black woman. Okay, because this pertains to, really all these women, but it pertains the heaviest to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American woman. But really, the heaviest impact, fell upon the head tribe. All right, the Judite woman. Okay, and Esau has he has a magnifying glass, honed in on the Judite woman and the Judite men. Which really he's magnifying and honing in on all the Israelites, but he's really put an extra focus on the head tribe. Okay, just like the saying goes, take out the head and the body will fall. It says, "The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things." So they weren't teaching good things. They were teaching their children. The aged women were teaching their young daughters that you don't need a man. You can be independent. All right. Believe in yourself. You can make it. Ultimately telling you to put your trust in Esau. Okay. They were teaching them how to be unsubmissive. They weren't teaching them how to cook, how to clean, how to make clothing, even how to tend and be a helpmeet to their man. Okay, because that's what you women were set up to be, a servant to your man. It says, verse 4, that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, and that ain't happening. And the so-called black woman has taught her children the complete opposite, man. And we're seeing the ramifications, the repercussions of that. Okay, you look at these so-called black women in the store, out and about in the city, and they just got some stank ass look on their face, like they're just better than you. And we're about to get that in Isaiah the 32nd chapter. They just got this haughty look, this stank ass look on their face, and they got a look on their face which is basically unapproachable, where nobody even wants to come up to you and say anything, let alone try to come up to you in that type of manner, even if you do look somewhat okay and all right. It says that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Okay, and like the scripture says, our women are hardened against their young ones. Because the so-called black one with her multiple children, her multiple baby daddies, and the man not being in a household so she can receive those benefits, etc. Hey, she's out in the streets. All right. It says verse 5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home. These women are not with that, man. Just like we were. Let's jump back. Let's go back to I believe it's Sirach. No, Salakia. It's Proverbs. Let's go back to Proverbs real quick. Let's go down to verse 12. It says, now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. She's not trying to be in the house. Okay? She wants to live her best life. She wants to travel the world. She wants to go on girls' trips. But ultimately, she just wants to, have that do as I will spirit. She wants to be a slut. Okay? Let's go back to Titus, the 2nd chapter. It says, continuing on in verse 5, it says, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home. They don't want to be keepers at home. They want to be in the streets. And she's for the streets. And quite frankly, that's what we're going to leave her at. All right? And there's a reason the apostles and elders gone down, tell you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American men to not deal with the so-called black woman. Now, you might find a so-called black woman that's all right, and decent. Okay? We're not saying every single so-called black woman, but on the majority standpoint, it is that way. And, we've learned from experience. Okay? It says to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed. All right, let's jump back into the video.
Talking about black women like that, do you even know what you're saying? And you're just like, I'm not gonna date him. I don't care. I don't date. What am I? Like on and on. I was like, this boy, I don't know what he listens to. I don't know what he's hearing.
But to me, the fact that a child would even say that shows that somewhere, like somehow there is this mentality. Like I'm not saying.
Yeah, there is that man saying, and it's overly evident that even young children, are picking up on these things. And it wasn't like that when you go back to the 70s, even the 80s era, now, hey, Jake is seeing, okay, not only what, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans women mindsets are, but but also it's just like, their focus is on, this world and just elsewhere, man. Even when these women are in somewhat of a relationship, their focus is not on you. Okay, really, men are, invisible to these women unless you are a celebrity or, a multi-millionaire. Okay, you have that type of status. Okay, like the scripture says, men shall be lovers of themselves. These women are in love with themselves. Okay, and they're comfortable. That's why you see all these women that look, very, very well. Okay, attractive, etc. And they're single, and they'll be single for years upon years upon years. You have to ask yourself, why is that? And it's because they really don't want to be in a type of relationship, and they want to be, free to roam the streets, and they get all types of gratification and all type of input, that boosts that ego and that pride from these various different platforms that Esau has set up, Facebook, Instagram, etc. All right.
Even majority of black men feel like that. But I think there are black men out there that are like...
And statistically speaking, the rates of interracial marriage, like how much they've risen, is like over 100%,
right?
Yeah,
You said
I did look
over
at it
100%?
some. I believe so. Which I'd have to look at it again, so don't...
Yeah, hey, the so-called black woman was going to get them Edomite woman. Going to get a Moabite woman. All right? What do you think the whole passport bros? Jake is leaving the United States of America, man. And he's leaving America and finding out in these other regions, these islands, these other areas of the earth, man, that's where it's at. And the women love him there, man. Okay? Not just the so-called Negro, man, but, the so-called Native American and the so-called Latinos, man. They're leaving America and going to these different places, and they're finding submissive women that aren't loud, okay? And the women that are feminine in shape, okay? Let's go to Isaiah the 3rd chapter and the 16th verse. It says, Moreover the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walketh with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. That's right, they got a haughty look. They got the so-called black woman got that stink ass look on her face at all times, man. Okay? It says, and wanton eyes, yeah, she's always, here it is, she walking with her man, and she's looking at another dude. Okay? He might have some nice shoes, or is dressed a certain way, or looks a certain way, look like he's got some money, and she's got wanton eyes. It says, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go. The so-called black woman thinks her shit don't stink. She thinks she's the best thing on earth, the best thing popping, no matter how much she weighs, no matter how bad she looks. Okay? She might be 300-400 pounds. She's on Instagram in a bikini. She's walking in the mall, like you supposed to choose her. It says, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Verse 17, therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. That's why they can't grow their hair out. The so-called Negro man can grow his hair longer than the so-called Negro woman, and because the Most High Yahweh has put a curse upon, our woman, and mainly, mainly the Southern Kingdom, and really concerning the Judite woman. All right, that's why they, and the women are ashamed of it. That's why they put these different weaves and wigs on, and try to do these perms, which destroys their scalp, destroys their hair, even more. Okay, and it really stunts the growth of the hair. Okay, we'll read that again. It says, therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. Okay, that's why that little kid, he said, what? They're ugly. Hey, you look at the rest of the tribes, especially the Northern Kingdom, they can, Northern Kingdom women grow their hair, all the way, damn near past the knees.
Don't quote me, but it has exponentially grown, and I think some of it's a good thing, but like there's other options. Like, could it say something about that we don't really value ourselves or like ourselves anymore? You know what I mean? Well, so
yeah, right. She said there's other options. You're right. We got other options. Okay, we got other options, and the thing is, these heathen women are looking at Jake. All right. These other nations, man, they're actually they've done studies, okay, and they've interviewed, these the women of these other nations, and they said they want the so-called black man. All right. Ultimately they're looking at the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American man. Okay. You got these other camps that say, oh, you over there, G man. They say you can deal with white women. You can deal. Yes, we can. We can bring back the nation of Israel through the other nations. All right, we carry the seed. Okay.
Is interracial marriages, is that wrong? Is that negative? What is it a sign of?
Well, when you go into the interracial marriage, only a man can step outside his nation and deal with a woman. All right. Step outside his nation and be in a so-called quote-unquote relationship, whatever you want to call it. Okay, Israelite woman cannot do that. Okay, if she does do that, that's going off. An Israelite woman cannot go get and lay down with a heathen. All right, that's against the scriptures. And ultimately, she can't bring back the nation because she doesn't carry the seed, and that heathen man she's laying down with, guess what? He's bringing more heathens. He's bringing these other nations in through her. Okay, just to clarify that.
I don't think it's wrong. I think it's great. I think if it becomes the majority of what's happening,
Then we got a problem.
Then it shows an issue. Like, okay, like, I mean, you would think these people we have things in common. You in the same sort of struggle, and not.
Let's jump down to verse 24. It says, "And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle a rent, and instead of well set hair baldness." That's what you got to deal with. The majority of the so-called black woman, all right, have baldness. The Most High Yahweh has, put a scab upon their head. He's put a curse upon them. All right. It says, "And instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair," okay, because the glory of a woman is her hair, and the Lord took that away from our woman. Okay, it says, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth. Yeah, these women, or I'll say the so-called black woman, the majority of them are completely out of shape. They don't have any type of proper diet. They're not healthy. They don't eat right. They live off of fast food, and they always eat out because like we were going into in Titus the 2nd chapter, they haven't been taught by their mothers, okay, the generation before them, how to eat properly and how to cook. It says, "And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty." That's right. The so-called black one's completely out of shape. And she's ultimately unattractive, man. All right, on a majority standpoint. Now there are some so-called black women that look decent. I ain't gonna lie. And and some brothers like dealing with the so-called black woman. Me personally, that ain't my cup of tea. But it is what it is. I'm gonna close out in this last scripture. I'm gonna go to 1 Timothy the 5th chapter, and I'm gonna go down to the 6th verse, and it reads, "But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth." And the majority of these so-called black women, that's what they seek. They seek to live in pleasure. They chase the festivities of life. They want to be one with this world. They want to be in the spotlight. They want to have all eyes on them. Okay, they want to chase the bag. They want to chase everything that Esau has to offer. Okay, and the last thing on their mind, all right, is this wisdom, knowledge, and these scriptures, man. Okay, the last thing on their mind is the order that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has established, for the family. Okay, the last thing on their mind is coming up under the order of their man. Okay, with that, Shalom.